Cast with Shaggy7. I'm going to see if my internet quality will allow me to stream because it has not in the last few days. I don't know if it's the cold or what. So, these are my worlds. I'm probably going to work on Alabama2020 a little more. Jazz is a great map seed. I have a few videos on it if you want to check out some base locations. It's not as well punt of a video as Crackpot, but the map does show where a few things are. Let's see, MP Online, PvPvE, one of my all-time favorites. Has quite a few cities, most of the cities are in the southern half of the hemisphere. There's only one city to the north hemisphere above Hudson City to the east, and it has the straightest, longest road that I've ever seen that runs from the northeast to the northwest. It has a little break in it somewhere to the east, but it pretty much leads directly to the other road. Great map. That was my day 630 something day map that I was on. Had to delete it because traders came out, and then I got Shaggy7. It says it's on Insane, but it's actually on Nightmare. Same for Jazz. It says Insane, which is probably the 7th or 8th remake of Jazz that I've had. Last time I had to delete it, one of the traders disappeared. So I'm going to go over that real quick. There's a few things that can make your trader disappear. Number one, I'm afraid to mention some of this stuff because the griever population, the troll population on this game is pretty intense. You know, my theory with trolls comes from the PS2 and the PC. I played Guild Wars for a long time, over 8 years. I played SOCOM for about 10 years, a little longer, but pretty much hardcore for 10 years straight. Like, that means almost every single day, with 2 or 3 breaks in my life, which breaks didn't really go over maybe a few weeks to a month. Anywho, I've noticed my theory with trolls is there's always at least a fluctuation number of population of the same amount of trolls. So basically, if you got 100 people playing a game, 10 of them people are going to be trolls and take their place because trolls have friends too, and trolls teach other trolls how to troll. So you really notice the troll population when a game's full-on population starts to die. Like, when the game first comes out, like 7 days for example, I met all kinds of people. Like, you know, there must have been like, I don't know how many people was playing it, quite a few of the thousands. So you didn't see that many trolls. Every now and then you come across a few, you know. But then as the game slowly dwindled in population, you started seeing more trolls. Not that there was more trolls in a whole number, but because the population is limited, you run into the trolls a little bit more. I especially noticed that with Guild Wars. I ran an alliance that had over 1,000 people in it. Each guild held 100 people. You could have 10 guilds in an alliance. And the more each year that game died a little bit more. It's still active, but it's not nearly as active to the first guild I ever joined to learn some of the guild tactics they used on that game and setups. Was a guild called Yar. They had 2 alliances, Kurzik and Luxon, which is basically 2 different classes of people in the storyline of the game. Kurzik's was blue, Luxon was red, and Yar had both alliances. They had 10 guilds, all had black pirate skull and crossbone looking flags for their capes, and they were so organized that if you was away from keyboard for 3 days, they would kick you out, and as long as you didn't get kicked out by being a troll or having a warning, you could always send a message to one of the many officers and they let you back in. Most active guild I've ever seen in my whole gaming career. On the PS2, I ran a clan, which is the same thing. And we were so active that we would have to often divide up, because it only held 32 people in a room, which was a lot considering Call of Duty can still barely hold 16, 24, if that. PlayStation 2, SOCOM 3 introduced 16 to 32 player battles. SOCOM 2, I think, had 16. SOCOM 1 had 16, like 8 versus 8. Then SOCOM 3 came out and allowed 32 people with spectators, but I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, so let's load up Alabama, since my stream seems like it's going to work today. Knock on wood. But yeah, the game is, everyone's bitching like, oh, we ain't getting an update. Some people still think that there's hope for an update, but if you did well enough in English, and I'd say elementary school, even middle school, possibly. Some people act like they didn't pay attention in none of their English classes. But if you read what the Fun Pimps wrote on their official forum site about the consoles, yes, they got the rights back. My theory is the main reason they wanted the rights back is because it's theirs. They've went through so much legal shit. Let's see, I can't remember what company tried to sue them over the ferals. They said that ferals looked too much like a monster in one of their games. It might have been Capcom, might have been one of the Resident Evil titles. And so Fun Pimps changed the way that the feral looked a little bit just to prevent from being sued by whatever company that was. I think it was Capcom. So then they had to deal with Minecraft. Minecraft was threatening to sue them because the way that we made torches on 7 days was too similar to the way they make torches on Minecraft. So they changed it to prevent from being sued. And now they're in their own end of a legal battle, or they were, because Telltale shut down. Iron Galaxy handled the port to get it from PC to console. Telltale picked up the rights and hired Iron Galaxy to do that. And so they had to deal with so many. Those are just two legal issues I know of. I'm sure that there's been a few more that they've had to change. So they're like, this is our game, this is our build engine. Telltale's trying to auction it off, so of course they wanted their rights back to the game from console, because what Telltale could have done was auction off the title, and someone else could have picked up the game and not did shit with it for console. Just because a company bought the rights don't mean they're going to do anything with it. And they could have used the build engine and everything else about 7 Days to Die, and then use it for their own video game. And then Telltale would have had no right to say, hey, that's too similar to our game, because they no longer own the rights to the console. So that's my theory on why they really wanted the rights back to the console. If you read the forum, back to the forum, they basically say it costs millions of dollars to port a game from PC to console, and they don't have the funds. They even went as far as to say, we have our own family. You know, we have family that we're trying to feed. So they basically saying we don't have the money to do anything with console because it costs millions of dollars. And that right there tells me that this game is 99.9% is how sure I am that this is it. This is the game. This game is 3.9 gigabytes, I think. 3.3 gigabytes in size. It's a small game. I have phone games that are larger than this. But for the product that it is, we've all gotten our money out of it. Especially if you played it since the beginning. You know, I've seen the game go on sale quite a few times. I think the second year that I was playing it on a Black Friday, the game was like $4. I have a second profile that don't have PlayStation Plus. There's lots of reasons I have that alternate account, but another reason is I could look in the store and see how much a game is. And I remember seeing 7 Days to Die was under $5, like 4 something. And I was like, damn man, I paid like 30 bucks for this game. But again, also was looking for a zombie game, and I was in the store just looking around for zombie games, and I saw this game called 7 Days to Die, and I was like, oh, okay, this one has zombies. And then I realized, oh shit, you can build in it. And I love building games. I play games like Morrowind, the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. It had a build engine for PC. RPG Maker for the PlayStation 1, I believe it was. And I spent a lot of time on that. Duke Nukem for the PC, the old Duke Nukem title. I had a build engine for it, and back then you saved on floppy disk, and I had about 20 floppy disks just filled up with stages that I had built. Like, I've always loved building games. I couldn't get into RPG Maker 2. It felt too much like the new Dragon Warriors, and they complicated some stuff. I just love building games. They're like my go-to. I tried No Man's Sky, and I like it, but I don't care for the building aspect too much. But so, on with the stream. This map is called Alabama 2020, and what I'm doing, I guess I'm going to rebuild HUD City. But because my PlayStation, my second PlayStation that I'm on, PS4, my first PS4 was stolen like a few days before my birthday. Long. Um, then my second one kept overheating recently, and I opened it, I cleaned it, then I opened it up and I cleaned it again, and it just kept overheating. I'm pretty sure it was the thermal paste, because I had it for so long. The thermal paste normally only lasts about 2 years. So if your PlayStation starts overheating, I used a place called, man, what's the name of it? Play and Talk, maybe Talk and Play, but they repair cell phones and video games. They blow GameStop out the water for the retro games, man. Like, they got new stuff, they got old stuff. You could go buy Nintendo's. If you have a Play and Talk near you, I highly recommend you going to check it out. Like, if you want to find out what the prices are for some of your older games, like, that's the place to go. Like, they still have Nintendo games that have their true value running on them, like Final Fantasy. You know, you might think they're overpriced, but some of the value to these games that they have are like pretty cheap compared to what the total value is of that game if you put it on eBay and waited for a good enough buyer. But they got old Nintendos, they refurbish stuff, they'll clean it for you, they'll fix it. But I had a problem that they could not fix. I mean, they might be able to, but I doubt it. Basically, I kept cleaning my PlayStation. I was trying, because I didn't have thermal paste. I was trying to do everything I could without having to do the thermal paste. But that's probably what I should have just focused on. And I opened it up. I picked out the vents on the side of the PlayStation with tweezers. Got all that dust that I could get out. Kept overheating still. So then I opened it up again. Got some canned air. Cleaned it out more proper. Still overheated if I went into a game, but at least it stayed on for an hour in a party chat. But I don't want my PlayStation just for a party chat. I wanted it for gaming. And I popped in 7 Days to Die. Within 5 minutes, my PlayStation overheated and shut down on me. So I opened it up again. This time I'm going further. I've cleaned everything except for the heat sink. And I wanted to see inside the fan a little better to try and clean that out, because the fan felt kind of stiff. So I got to take everything out. Everything comes out smoothly till I get to the power supply. I removed the power supply, no biggie. And now it's time for the ribbons that connect to the motherboard. Now, I have a hard time explaining this, but basically, I had an idea what I was doing. Some people might say I should have never attempted, but you live and you learn. I'll attempt it again if I ever have to, but I'm more the wiser, even though it cost me a $500 system. When I went to pull out the ribbon from the motherboard, there's a plastic piece that another plastic piece inserts into. So you got the plastic piece on the motherboard and you have another plastic piece on the ribbons. And I had to disconnect the ribbons, and the first one I went for was the power supply. And using needle nose like you're supposed to, I didn't grip the ribbon plastic piece. I grabbed the motherboard plastic piece and pulled it right off. And I could probably solder it and get it back on, but my soldering iron is old and I don't have any solder to even attempt this. One day I'll attempt it. I mean, I can't do no more harm to the PlayStation itself, but I would still have my issue of overheating. But if I could at least get the power supply back, you know, then I'll have two PlayStations 4s. So that's what happened to my PlayStation. I went to Play and Talk because they were pawn shops. Don't know what you're gonna get with a pawn shop. Someone could have a PlayStation that comes on long enough for them to see it works, and then I could have been faced the same issue that I was faced with the overheating. So I just went to Play and Talk where it's more guaranteed. I have 90 days, I believe. If something goes wrong with it, I can bring it back. They'll either give me store credit or replace it. I got the last one, so I'm probably, if something's wrong with this one, I'm probably gonna have to get store credit to punt towards another one. But anyway, I got totally distracted. So I'm on my third PlayStation. And oh yeah, so because of my old PlayStation, all my saves were saved to PS Plus. If you don't have your saves backed up to PS Plus, there's an option in your settings to do it automatically. I would highly recommend doing that. Maybe after you do it once, maybe turn it off. If you play 7 Days to Die a lot, that way you can save a backup every day, because it saves a backup like every so often. I think you can set to how often it saves to the PS Plus account on the cloud basically. But for 7 days, if you want to have more control of your backups, let's say I just saved the backup. I loaded my map, made sure it worked, didn't blue screen me, and then I close it and I save a backup, and then I reload it and I play. And then someone joins my map and I don't trust them. They were duping possibly, or they went and beat my trader where he disappears. That's where I was talking about. I can always come back and load my manual backup. Or you could risk it and run the autosave backup and load the autosave backup, and hopefully it doesn't save after the trader has disappeared or the map's become so corrupt. So, with that said, the traders. There's a few things that can break your traders, and because of the griever population, I'm a little nervous about mentioning these, but not many people watch my YouTube that I know of, so fuck it. Number one issue with traders is the grievers. It's not always a griever though, but one way is, I think that the last patch they gave us, and it was a hidden patch they didn't even talk about, I think it's been fixed. I haven't tested it because I don't want to get the cheat. I got my trophy legit. I used the jazz seed from a player kills. I had a little help with some friends, taking turns killing each other. I've done PvP arenas with some friends, and that's how I got my player kills trophies. But apparently, when the traders first came out, people discovered a glitch where you could beat the trader with a torch. And it would give you player kills. And once you hit them so much, like maybe 2 to 5 minutes worth of hitting them with a torch, it will give you the trophy. It'll just keep adding up your player kills. So, a few people were cheating that trophy and doing that. Then, another thing is that can also break your trader. If you hit your trader, if someone goes into a world and starts hitting your trader, you can tell because their player kills used to go up. Like I said, I haven't tested it, but to see if it still works. I believe that they put a hidden patch out to fix just that issue, but that could make your trader disappear, and people still can do that to make your trader disappear, but I don't know if the trophy cheat works for that. So basically they go beat the trader with a torch, and next time you load your game, he could disappear. Another trick is people leave doors open, and that's a horrible thing to do. You know, where you raised in a barn, shut the door behind you. I ain't trying to air condition the whole world. And that's the same principle for the traders, and you know, respect out of people's bases. You don't leave the door open. Don't leave the door open on the trader, because a lot of times is sometimes when it's not all the time, but sometimes when it switches over to day or night and the trader opens or closes, there's a big chance that that can cause a glitch where the trader disappears. Sometimes he'll disappear and he won't be there, and then shortly after it'll start throwing you out in the daytime. Like just like you ran in there at night, it could throw you out in the daytime. Another thing is someone crashing at the trader and leaving the game during the night. So don't beat the trader with a torch. Don't leave the door open, and make sure people aren't staying by the trader. Which brings me to another thing that can break the trader. Building too close. There's a few forum articles about this. People have had issues. I just got into an argument with someone that don't agree, but it's true. I've seen it happen. But if you build too close to the trader, and close could be within a kilometer, it's best to stay a kilometer away from the traders to build, especially if you put a chest underground. That, for some reason, can glitch the trader where he won't work anymore, like that specific area. So now I've made it a rule where no one can build within a kilometer of the trader. The forums say 500 meters to a kilometer, but I would say just stay fucking safe and don't build within a kilometer of the trader. Make sure you're outside of the kilometer range. And another thing that can glitch a trader is people will bring zombies. They'll kite, they'll lead, they'll string zombies into the base or into the trade post, and that can also make the trader disappear. So there's a few things that you want to avoid if you want to keep your trader for over day 500. Most of the time I've seen the trader disappear with these tricks within day 70 to up to day 300. My map, Jazz map, I think it was like on 2 something, and then my trader disappeared, and so I deleted the map and restarted, so I won't be living in that cave anymore. So I guess I'll end this video with them few tips right there, and then I'll restart the next one going over my refurbish. So basically with this, because my other PlayStation 4 broke, I got all my saves, but I don't have all my screenshots and videos. And I like to share my screenshots with the Facebook groups that I'm on for that game, for this game and a few other games. But now I can't, because this is a brand new PlayStation. None of that stuff is on here. So that's why I'm in a cheat mode, doing a refurbish HUD City. I'm gonna build my bases all over. A few designs, maybe do castles, a few new designs. Not totally happy with it because some of the screenshots that I had were epic base locations, other people's worlds. Like I had a lot. my original cheat mode on NAS game. Like, I had a nice fort built there, and now it's all gone. But I guess I'll review this base real quick so that video is not as short. This is the perfect zombie defense. The only weakness is police officers. It'll handle ferals, it'll handle screamers, it'll handle dogs, it'll handle any zombie that comes at you except for the cops. It'll handle them, but if they get close enough and blow up, they're going to hurt the ground around you. That's why I got concrete built. Once you get it up to concrete and forged steel, cops are a little more tolerable. But you really, before you do concrete below ground or wherever else, you want to concrete your plates. So it's best to start it in a cobblestone. You can do it in wood, and as long as you stay wood and don't get no zombie kills, you won't see cops for a long time. A lot of people don't know the mechanics because I guess they don't read the updates and the patch notes that did come out. But because the hordes were causing lags and blue screens and not coming, and would come every single day after the first horde, like you'd have horde night day 8, 9, 10, 11, like, so they really worked on the hordes for console. And one of the patch notes I read said that they changed the way zombies are. Let's say you explore the map and you got zombies all over. You just see it and you run away. So when the horde comes, those zombies are supposed to despawn now. So that way it kind of clears up a lot of stuff. Like clears them out. That way there's not more zombies than what's supposed to be on the map, helping with the blue screens and lag issues. Another thing is how zombies come by your, not so much your level, but a little bit based on what weapons you have versus what material you're building with. Like, this is a concrete base, so because it's concrete, I'm going to see more cops, more ferals. But, you know, granted, I'm in HUD City, but it's based on a few number of things now. It's based on, like, I have a friend who has a nightmare map, and his base is completely wood. He built it up on the tree. Like, you can plant a tree. He built his recent one. He said he built the tree underground, planted it underground, and gave it room to grow out at where he's not as high as the trees, but he's still, his base is off the ground and out of reach of the zombies. And what he did is he planted an iron block, one iron block on the very top center part of the tree, and then he built off of that. He's on nightmare mode, and he don't really have cops, and he don't have ferals, because I got a friend request. Because he doesn't kill anything, he just kills them all with spikes. See, I'll add this person to 7 days. I'm sure that's what they're probably playing. But because he has 0 kills, oh, that's another factor on your zombies, is your kill count. If you're killing a bunch of zombies, the game's going to think you're a badass, and it's going to send you a bunch of zombies. So there's a few contributors that help clear up lag and difficulty settings to where the mechanics of the game's changed. Someone's wanting to play, so I'm going to end this stream. If you want to check it out, go to my YouTube at Crazy Mike 7, spelled KRAZYMIKE numeral 7. If you type that up in Google search, you'll see videos that I've done since PS2. A lot of my streams, my YouTube is pretty organized. You can check out some of the VR titles that I have that give little tips and tricks and options on how VR works. Like I said, you'll have to check them videos out. If you have VR and you're like, this sucks, what's this teleport movement, what's this snap grid turning, you can turn that all off to where everything's smooth, like this. Like where you can look around all smooth. VR is like a snap grid when you first start a game. it'll kind of flash you over. But you can fix it where it's smooth, even smooth, no more teleporting. But check out those videos if you want to find out more, if you're not sure what VR game you want to play, or if you're not sure about some titles, definitely have the channel for you. I also have a wide variety of music, info, theories, languages, all such. So make sure to check out my YouTube at Crazy Mike 7. Might be able to look for it under Shaggy 7, but Crazy Mike 7 is my main title for that. And give me a like and some subscribes. Appreciate it.